time is running out. The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming. My story doesn't end hiding in these woods. I should be out there, finding out who I am, who Loki is.
I will not allow you to pick a fight with gods.
I don't want to fight anyone. I just want answers.
And if those answers lead to war with Asgard?
Maybe that's what Mother wanted.
We do not know what Mother wanted.
Well, I recognize that dour expression anywhere. Odin's got tricks up his sleeve we haven't dared to consider.
What if there was someone who could help us?
You mean Tyr, the old god of war in these lands, who is dead?
Well, for a dead man, Odin seemed pretty keen on seeing he wasn't found.
If he's out there, we gotta find him.
Come in. What in all yarn speed that happened to him?
We're trying to stop Ragnarok, to help people. And what if the only way to do that is war?
War is not the only way.
Stop thinking like a father for a moment and start thinking like a general.
No!
You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person?
In moments of crisis, panic does nothing. Harness it. Let it serve you.
Tyr!
Are you coming with us?
You'll get your answer soon enough. Well, some of them.
Everyone keeps secrets. Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love.
I know you. God killer. What is it you want from me? Is it a god of war you came to find?
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos? All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
What is it you will not tell me?
I can't talk about it, but I just need you to trust me.
We follow your every whim.
But you don't believe in any of it.
And still I follow. Because all that matters is that you are safe.
But that's not all that matters. Who's keeping you safe?
I do not need you to protect me.
You sure about that?
Pretender god! For the old father!
Death can have me when it earns me.
What do you even know of God's word? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about anything beyond yourself. Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
Fate only binds you if you let it.
From a combat perspective, I always, and I still feel like the meat and potatoes of any God of War game is combat. My name is Roberto Clemente. All my friends call me Bert. I'm a senior combat animator here at Sony Santa Monica.
My name is Kim Wynn, and I'm a gameplay animator.
Hi, I'm Sabra, and I'm a senior VFX artist on God of War Ragnarok.
My name is Grace Pan, and I'm a gameplay animator in God of War Ragnarok.
Hi, I'm Stephen O'Hara, GBA, combat designer on God of War. And I create interesting and memorable creatures that players like to attack and defend against.
As an animator, you gave life to characters. You make them move, you give them personalities, you give them weight.
My role as a VFX artist is to put the power behind a move. You are in control of fire and earth and water and wind. Whether you are throwing your axe or on the receiving end of an enemy spell, VFX is what really gives the movement and the danger to every move that a character or enemy makes.
I work really closely with the design team and the tech art team on this project specifically. We actually work a lot with camera, along with the guidance of our great camera team, so I find myself doing fight choreography sometimes.
One of the most challenging parts about being a combat designer isn't the technical implementation of creating a creature, but it's really navigating that line between frustrating and engaging. We want to make something that makes players lean forward and focus and really try hard against an enemy and feel good about overcoming that, but we don't want to make them feel defeated if they can't figure something out.
And then it feels rewarding when you win, not because it was impossible, but because it was fun and engaging.
After the last game, we've heard the community cry out for more mini-bosses, bigger creatures, and enemy variety, and this time we really leaned into that. So in God of War Ragnarok, you're going to be traveling to all 9 realms, and each realm is going to have like its own theme of enemies that are very unique to that space. For example, in Alfheim, we're familiar with the Dark Elves, but this time around we're going to be fighting Light Elves, such as the Light Elf Warrior. One of the key learnings from the last God of War game is we don't have to think about the camera and how close combat is going to feel. We already have that knowledge, so we can build upon the close camera that we have, and we can iterate on enemies, creating more interesting scenarios. In the last game, Atreus was just starting to fight alongside Kratos, and he was learning from the master tactician. So in this game, he's trying to prove himself a little bit more, and we built upon those mechanics with him.
The previous God of War, Atreus was still a kid, right? So he has a lot of dependency on his father. And for this game, you will see Atreus moving more independently on his own as a companion.
In regards to VFX for Kratos, I think what the players really love is the powerfulness of it. When you are playing as Kratos, you really do feel like the God of War. And moving into Ragnarok, we want to really make something bigger, make it stronger, make it more of a spectacle. You want them to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that the Blades of Chaos could get even better, but look at that.
So as Kratos gets more powerful, he's going to have access to newer combos and newer abilities that will increase the combat depth of each weapon. For the Blades, one of the moves that I've really enjoyed from previous God of Wars is the combat grapple, and we're going to be bringing that with a new twist.
I'm very excited for players to try the blade grapple traversal moves. That brings so much more speed into the movement and the dynamic feel to it.
One of the ways we've expanded Kratos combat this time around is we've given more utility and choice to his shield loadout.
If you are a parry person, you could really go for a shield that gears towards parrying. If you're a big blocker, then you could choose a shield that will really match your playstyle.
One new mechanic or element that I'm really excited about is these combo finishers. Building up the stun meter this time around is going to lead to different ways to basically decapitate the enemy.
You're going to be able to choose, which weapon you want to have when you kill a guy. Another feature that we've added for Kratos is his new pre-fall attacks. You could jump off a ledge, and if there's an enemy below you, you could slam down on him.
There's such an emphasis on verticality in some of these fights that it's super engaging. And as Kratos, now that you have so much mobility and that you can also take advantage of that verticality, I think it just adds such another interesting layer to a fight.
In God of War Ragnarok, we've enhanced the Kratos and Atreus duo. He's going to initiate a little bit more, be aggressive. He's going to fight alongside you, and sometimes even surprise you with his combo abilities too.
Some of the new expanded companion actions that you'll see Atreus do leverage the fact that he's older now, he's bigger now. And he's different from Kratos, so his magic has a different flavor.
Not only that they fight side by side together, there are also a lot of mini games and player interaction moments. For example, like the puzzle systems and the set pieces. You definitely will see a lot more collaborations between father and son.
Odin must have sent them!
There's so much that goes into building a big set piece. You basically iterate and iterate and iterate, and it takes testing and just seeing what works to really figure out the personality of something. Basically, every department gives it their all to make things really spectacular. There were a lot of different times that I would look back at God of War games just through the ages. Before 2018, there were so many amazing, huge boss fights and set pieces that it was a huge inspiration for me on my time on this project.
For the Old Father!
Our design philosophy for creating new and memorable enemies is basically making them a combat puzzle, similar to like chess, and focusing on the chess pieces. Each piece has its own theme and its own use.
You need to be able to see what's happening in an instant and be able to react as the player.
There's a couple of different ways that we go into making an attack very readable for the player. Sometimes we add a signature audio cue, or we'll add the different rings, such as what we did in the last game, that lets you know that this attack is unblockable, you need to dodge it.
There's so many different ways that VFX really helps not just show what an enemy is about to do, but show who the enemy really is.
Everything you design has to be surrounding the essence of the character and a story. It's what makes it believable and memorable in the first place.
I think what I'm most excited about is for players to experience the diversity of enemies that this game has to offer. You will be fighting everything from small little creatures to things that will take up the entire screen.
All of their designs run the gamut. I think each one looks so much different from the next one, and each of them have their own play styles and their own little fantasies that go into it. And so I think if you are really into Norse mythology, you'll be very interested to see how Sony Santa Monica has taken some of these creatures and interpreted them for God of War.
Everything that goes into the game, there's emotion behind it and intent behind it, and by the time it gets to you, everything that you've seen that you're going to play and experience has been sweated over, bled over, tested, and is fun to play.
We're coming off of God of War 2018. How do you top that? How do you deliver something that players will love maybe just as much as God of War 2018? The pressure was tremendous. My name is Ariel Angelotti, and I am the senior producer for narrative.
My name is Richard Gobert. I'm the story lead for God of War Ragnarok.
I'm Jody Kupsko, and I'm the supervising dialogue designer.
It's my job to shape the story along with our writing team, our narrative director, and game director.
As a producer, it's my job to help build a team to create that content, to own the schedule in realizing that content.
I oversee the dialogue production throughout the entire titles. Every line of dialogue that you hear, every human vocalization and effort and grunt, our team touches.
So I'm a man now, like you?
No.
We are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater.
In the story of God of War 2018, we find Kratos seemingly having turned over a new leaf in the Norse lands. He lives a quiet life, hidden in the woods with his wife Faye and their son Atreus. And the story starts with them mourning her death, and we learn that she made a final request before she passed away. She wanted them to spread her ashes from the highest peak in all the 9 realms. He's scared of being a bad father, a bad influence, and as a result, it's made him an absent father. His greatest fear is that he's passed that evil that's inside of him onto his son.
You are too quick to temper. You are rash, insubordinate, and out of control. This will not stand. You will honor your mother and abandon this path you have chosen. It is not too late.
They befriend Freya, who is an exiled Vanir goddess who used to be married to Odin. They meet Mimir, the self-proclaimed smartest man alive, who serves as their guide and their confidant. And they meet the Holdra brothers, Brock and Sindri, who are world-class weaponsmiths who end up their main source of upgrades and equipment. Now, among the enemies they make are the Aesir gods, whose leader is none other than Odin, someone we never meet in God of War 2018, but who casts a very long and dark shadow over the 9 realms.
There are consequences to killing a god!
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
After many adventures, Kratos and Atreus end up fulfilling Mom's wishes, and over the course of that journey, they find out more about each other and about themselves, and finally find a common ground between them. They become the close family unit that Faye hoped that they would become. In God of War Ragnarok, we fast forward a few years, and little Atreus is now a teen, and they're back to hiding out in their home in the woods in Midgard. During the course of the previous game's events, they were forced to kill Odin's grandchildren, Magni and Modi, the sons of Thor. Thor does a lot of the lion's share of Odin's dirty work, and as a consequence, he's a very violent, unstable personality. At the end of the last game, they were also forced to kill Balder, the son of Odin and Freya, and that has its own set of consequences. He was a very powerful chess piece for Odin, one that Odin is incredibly bitter about losing. Freya has vowed vengeance against them for the killing of her son. Kratos and Atreus didn't want to kill him, they were friends with Freya, but Balder tried to kill her in front of them, and Kratos had no other option in the moment but to kill him to save Freya's life, even though it meant losing Freya's friendship.
I will parade your cold body from every corner of every realm and feed your soul to the vilest filth in hell. That is my promise.
He saved your life.
He robbed me of everything. Everything.
His death is also foretold to bring about Fimbulwinter, which is a brutal 3-year winter that is then followed by Ragnarok. It's an apocalyptic war between all the Norse gods, the giants, the dwarves, and the elves, and an army of the dead. They're all destined to fight in a battle that basically ends the world. Kratos is understandably worried about his son and what it means for him.
You get to go on this journey with how Atreus grows into a young adult and how Kratos grows into his next era in his life, and really see kind of the parent that he's striving to be, but the person he's striving to be. I find that tale so incredibly relatable.
We had started shooting plenty of content before the pandemic hit. In fact, the week before we all went work from home, we were doing a shoot. I remember being on and off that set, running back to the office and having to talk to studio leadership about what was going down and how this was going to impact us moving forward. And those were trying times.
For us, it was a very unique challenge because we had to bring in actors and we had to record them. And so we had to look at different ways of adapting our typical motion capture process and dialogue recording process so we can continue production and continue at the quality that we wanted for our players and our fans.
We had some actors stand in for other characters, actors who were already, who were like core to one of the scenes, might just be able to play a background character in another scene to be able to avoid a situation where too many people were on set on any given day. We avoided compromising the story that we were trying to tell as a result of the pandemic and these limitations that we had to deal with. There were no cinematics that we changed. We still have the same characters in them in the final game. We just had to get a bit creative with how we shot the content.
Our actor for Atreus, Sonny, is a teenage boy, and his voice changed dramatically throughout the several years on this title.
I don't want to fight anyone. I just want answers.
We had to go in and even out that performance so it sounds like it took place over a short period of time. That was a unique challenge on this one.
The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming.
Whether the Norse saga was going to be a trilogy or just 2 games was something we debated a lot. There were obviously pros and cons for either approach. So we waited for Cory Barlog to weigh in, and he did, and he said, let's do it in 2.
The consequence to that is, how do you wrap up this story in one game and do Ragnarok justice? How do we lead up to that and then have a big moment at the end of the game and wrap up all those loose threads? This game is bigger than what we initially envisioned. There's a lot of important story moments that we needed to cover. There are more characters that we follow the threads of. And ultimately, it ends up feeling big and epic because there is a lot there for people to enjoy.
I am very excited for folks to see this final chapter. A lot happens. We put our characters through the ringer, but we also bring them closure and we provide answers to a lot of the questions the first game posed.
Just all of the new combat that we're doing and the new interactions. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in this title that I think people are going to have fun with.
We all have our own personal Ragnaroks to deal with. And this story is about how you process that, how you own it, and how you make it a part of yourself and grow from it.
I mean, we set some stuff up. At the end of last game, there's going to be some consequences this game. We're going to see how things play out between Freya and Kratos. We're going to see how the evolution of the family relationship continues. You got Brock and Sindri, the dwarves, who are kind of part of your makeshift family now. And there's going to be some other characters that we introduce that maybe going to disrupt the balance a little bit. I can't wait until players get their hands on the game or are able to experience how the story unfolds for themselves.
We have, I think, an incredibly well-rounded game. Very satisfying combat, beautiful and rich environments to explore, outstanding character art, a lush and moving soundtrack and soundscape. It's the work of hundreds of very dedicated artists, and they all have their own stories to tell.